All righty, fellas, what is going on? We are back. We're going to be breaking down some Dynasty rosters. Going to be breaking down some rosters over on the site, and should be a ton of fun because we got a couple of you guys that submitted some team reviews. And of course, if you guys want to submit team reviews, I will drop the link for that in the chat down below. But yeah, let's break down some teams, Danny. Let's get into it. We got some teams over here. Sorry, this is a horrid intro, but I'm just like trying to do a couple things at once.
Also, shout out the first few in here. Brian, first one in here. Appreciate you, brother. Brock, just did my due diligence, scrolled the BDG. Yeah, if you guys want quite the trip, you can go check BDG comments on my trivia because about 80% of them are not too great. But my goats, appreciate you. And yeah, I'll let you continue, Corey. Just wanted to highlight also William and Smooth Criminal in here.
For sure. Yes. So I just dropped the get your team reviewed link in the chat. If you guys do want to have your team broken down in depth like this on stream, that is what we are doing today. We got a couple trade questions. We got a couple of team reviews. Let's tackle the trade questions first, as we've been doing, just to get through these here. Kharr submitted this, and he did actually use his buy, sell, hold report voucher to do that. So Kharr, if you are listening to this and you want to get a buy, sell, hold report, I sent you a message asking if you wanted it. But regardless, we will go over the trade question that you did send in here. And I do believe he sent me a comment on the side here. I'll just pull that up really quick. But the trade you can see here, Nico Collins is what he'd be trading away, an early to mid projected second in 2026. And he'd be receiving the rookie 103 in 2025. And then 2 early seconds, which I believe he told me in the chat was 201 and 203. Yes. Okay. So it's 201, 203, and the rookie 103 in exchange for Nico Collins and an early to mid projected second next year. He also does possess the 102, and Travis Hunter is the guy that he's probably going to be going with at the 102. So essentially you'd be trading Nico and a second away for Hampton plus.
Yeah. So where did you say those 2025 twos were? You said 201 and 202?
They're 201 and 203 respectively.
201 and 203. And again, this is a 1 quarterback, 12 team start 9 league. My question would be, would you be able to move those twos up into like a middle to late first rounder? Like, can you get that? Can you use 201 and 203 and move up to the 107, 108? Because
yeah, I mean, this guy also has the 104. I'm just seeing what other picks
he has.
I'm seeing what other picks he has specifically. I mean, he has a projected early to mid first in 26 as well.
Yeah, if you took the 2 twos off your side, would he do 103 plus a 2026 early to mid 1? The reason why I'm thinking this, if you're talking about equatable startup cost, Nico Collins, you see there, expert ranking 17 overall, 103 at the 22 overall. Basically, I'm thinking in the context of a startup, to move up from the, we'll say the end of the second, early third round, which is about the range we'll see the 103 go, to the mid second, usually you'll see like a 1 for 2 swap. It's not quite just 2 twos, I'd notice.
Yeah, I would want a little bit more juice on top of it.
I don't mind the idea though.
Yeah, I think it's relatively, because like you think about this, you're going to walk away with Amari and Hampton, probably like RJ Harvey, Caleb Johnson, Jackson Dart, maybe one of the tight ends or Matthew Golden if you're lucky. And then at 203, you're going to get kind of the back end of the tier that I just said. So you're going to walk away with 3 pretty solid players. Early to mid second next year, I would probably value at more so like that 205 to 206 range in this year's class, just because the class as a whole in totality doesn't look excellent right now. But an early to mid second, you still want those assets. But yeah, I think there's just a slight little bit of juice lacking on these 201, 203s. I would rather have a better asset, but still, I do think it's a half decent offer. And if you are looking, let me just take a look at his team really fast.
Take a look.
If you are looking to maybe tear it down a little bit, that's not his team. This looks like his team. Yeah, I mean, he's in a kind of a tear down situation. So this does kind of make sense in that situation.
Yeah, I think that would be the way to go, especially knowing that he's so go up.
He is in the chat right now for what it's worth.
So no, go to Who Day. Go to Who Day. Also, I think we tackled Tinder Swindler's team. Sounds familiar. Maybe another person used that. So okay, this guy would have Nico Collins, Jamar Chase, Lama Conkey, Jerry Jeudy, DJ Moore. So this is probably going to end up being a mid to late first. Again, that would be my counter. Can you get Nico Collins off to him in exchange for the 103 plus his mid to late first? And maybe you have to throw on a mid to late projected 2026 too to get it done.
Yeah, I mean, he's in the chat right now, and he said, I could probably get this done without my second. And we've been talking about 103 and a 26 first, which is what I would do. He said he countered 104 and a 26 first.
Needs to be 103.
And actually, that's honestly better for your team anyway. You don't really want a young running back yet.
Fair, but given the market value, I'd be pushing for the 103.
Yeah, no, I get it. I think I'd be fine doing Tet in a projected early to mid
First for
first,
Nico.
ideally, if it's a 26 one there. But
Yeah.
I do, if I had to pick a winner of this side right now, I would say hold Collins and see if you can get something better, which it sounds like you're in talks to do that. So yeah, if you can get 2 1s out of him, one being a high first this year and then a first next year, that would make more sense for your team build, which is what we just kind of mentioned there. Ewoz was the one who sent in
Appreciate you for the context, by the way.
Yes, appreciate that. Ewoz was the one who sent in the super chat yesterday. So we'll just go over this. He says Dynasty PPR, 12 team super flex. Ayuk, Caleb, and then Travis Hunter. I guess he's on the clock right now.
Travis Hunter.
Yeah, I mean, is that possibly somebody different?
Okay, what I'm assuming, this is either who to pick in his startup or it's an offer of Ayuk plus Caleb for Travis Hunter. Both answers would be Travis Hunter. Let me clarify.
Yes. Yeah, that would be correct. Yeah. If it's a trade offer, I'm not selling Travis Hunter for that, or I would buy Travis Hunter for that if you're the one purchasing him. And then I also would pick him over these guys with ease in a startup. So don't know exactly what the context of the question was, but yeah, that is Travis Hunter all day for us. And let's go back to the reviews now, and we can break some of these down a little bit more in depth here. Is it going to let me move this? Okay. Yeah. I want this on my other screen. All right. So Doster is the Doughestertx. This is the team that we're breaking down here. He's been waiting a couple of days. Appreciate the patience there. So Attack was the name of his team, which is where are you?
Mid-table. Number 6, I think.
Hold on.
Yeah, number 6.
Yes, number 6. There you go. Number 6. So this is the team we're breaking down here. Looks like he's got a couple of 1s next year, which is notable. He's got a lot of draft capital banked up, but it is relatively a bit of a barren roster at the moment.
Get Kyren Williams off this team.
What's up?
Get Kyren Williams off this team.
Yeah, get Kyren Williams off this team. Get Anthony Richardson off this team as well before he loses a bunch of value because he's a goober. Juwan Jennings also definitely a definite sell candidate.
Darnell Mooney.
Team. Yeah, Darnell Mooney. I mean, even Kyle Pitts, if you can find a believer out there. Yeah, this is like a trim the fat and use your picks next year to put this in a better position. Any kind of selling windows that you can take advantage of on any of these players would be ideal. And specifically for Kyren Williams and Juwan Jennings, you probably have one right at this moment because Jennings, we don't know what's going on with Ayuk's health. I think a lot of people would assume Jennings going to have a big role this year, rightfully so. You might be able to get, a mid projected second next year for Juwan Jennings, maybe even a little bit more than that in a package deal potentially.
This kind of reminds me of my Flock Me Silly team before the draft. What I did with that team, like Bush said, trim the edges. You have 3 2026 1s, 2 2026 2s. You could either monopolize that 2026 class or you can build that 2027 bank. Your goal should be either have 3 2026 1s and 3 2027 1s, or like I said, try to get maybe 5 or 6 2026 1s, monopolize this class because you have building blocks like Stroud, building block, Genty, building block, Tyler Warren, building block. I would even say like Xavier Worthy, long-term building block. I would also be willing, if you get the right price, to sell Garrett Wilson because Garrett Wilson is more of an in-prime asset now. I know he's only 24 years old, but if he has one more down year, he's a lot more volatile on the market compared to a typical 24-year-old. So for me personally, if you can get market value for Garrett, for Kyren, for Juwan Jennings, you said Darnell Mooney, and Kyle Pitts is probably someone you have to wait on in season. I wouldn't just sell for bottom of the barrel price tags right now because he is still relatively young. But if he shows a flash and you have an opportunity to cash out for, let's say, an early to mid projected 2026 too, you're doing it.
Yeah, and you never know. Like, so he's also the type of guy that you might even want to hold through a rebuild and see what happens. Because if he goes to a new team, new situation, you never know with a guy like him. It's funny that you mentioned Garrett Wilson has another down season as if he didn't have 150 plus targets.
But like in the eyes of the market.
You know what I mean, though. I know what you mean, but it is funny that that's what his market perception would be, actually that volatile after having a good season, relatively speaking.
Well, I mean, it's just the inherent bias you get with some players. Like, for example, if you just took straight production, Jerry Jeudy had just as much production as Garrett Wilson last year.
Yes, and Mike asked, if I submit a trade voucher right now, will it get reviewed live today? Yes, it will. If you submit a buy, sell, hold report voucher, it would not. But if you just have a trade question, then yes, it would.
Yes. Buy sell holds, by the way, I'm doing on the side, and I'll get those to you guys.
Yes, and that goes to anybody in the chat who wants their team reviewed live. You can go ahead and do that. That is linked in the chat and in the description here. But with this team, It's pretty simple to me. Trim the fat, get some of these competitive assets off of it, take advantage of your selling windows. If you don't have one, we have a couple people in the chat being like, I can't sell Darnell Mooney. Like, good luck trying to sell Darnell Mooney. That's fine. You might have to wait until the regular season when Darnell Mooney inevitably becomes a huge value yet again and, produces 12 to 13 PPR points per game or something. And maybe at that point in time, you can get an early projected 2, or maybe you can get, a 27, 2-3 or something like that for Darnell Mooney at that point in time. So some of these guys, I'm not saying you're gonna be able to sell them all immediately, but take advantage of your windows. Make sure your league mates know you're actually shopping them, and do your kind of due diligence and look, okay, this guy, maybe he thinks he can contend even though he can't. He could use another depth receiver like Darnell Mooney, and I could get his 2, which probably projects to be an early second.
Or maybe this is the guy you try to trade Garrett Wilson to. Can you trade Wilson plus Mooney for his 26 and 27-1?
Yeah, or maybe he'll even just give you his 26, 1 and 2, and then maybe his 27, 2 or something like that. I would probably still do that even.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So trading in 2s, like I see sometimes, you've probably seen this as well. When people are looking to like get assets off their team, they want to just do one big trade with 4 players, get them all off my roster. But I actually like the idea of, obviously in a ideal world, you just trading one guy at a time, getting picks or whatever. But doing a little package deal of Wilson and Mooney to a wide receiver needy team would make some sense for sure.
Shout out Matt, by the way. If you guys don't get the reference, then
that's funny.
Yeah, no, chasing breakers, it's an inside joke. Trust us.
Yeah, no, it's an inside joke. And I know you weren't crapping on the advice. It's good that you actually clarified that, because it is very easy for us to just sit here and say, sell Darnell Mooney. If there's nobody that wants Darnell Mooney, you can't sell him for anything.
Yeah, no, that's absolutely reasonable. Mooney would have to be the piece, like you mentioned. I know Ron's made this point before, but this is actually an underrated point that I feel like people haven't echoed. But there's usually some assets that nobody's willing to trade for straight up. They're usually assets that you're only okay getting if they're in a package deal. So I know Ron, for example, always stresses, like when he is selling, like, and I've noticed it too in the offers he sends to me, when he's selling a big time asset, he also tries to get you to take on one of his less desirable pieces. I'm not sure if you've ever noticed that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. And again, wide receiver needy team, you're trying to sell Garrett Wilson, get some high end assets for him. Packaging in a Darnell Mooney to give that guy another receiver piece that he can start is a good way of going about it. Same goes for, like, if you were selling Kyron Williams to somebody and they were giving you, let's say, a young wide receiver in return, you give them Mooney back with Kyron Williams, so they're not losing anything at wide receiver in their minds from like a projectable, redraft standpoint. Yeah,
for sure. But overall, I mean, like I said, trim some of the fat on this roster. You said, just finished my rookie draft. I'm now 6 players over my limit. I was okay. So we'll give him some advice on who to drop. He says, trying to determine if I should drop some, work out a trade. First and foremost, if you can get a trade and get guys on your team, since you're not ready to compete this year, I'd absolutely try to just trade, get roster spaces off, build up your liquidity and picks. If you are forced to drop 6 players, again, like I said, do your due diligence, try to trade players off of your roster, get under the limit naturally. If you had to release 6 players, it's pretty self-explanatory for me. Zach Moss literally looked like he's about to retire this offseason.
Zach Moss and down, all 3 of those running backs, I'm cool letting go.
Yep. I'm cool dropping Jalen Polk and Jermaine Burton at this point.
It's wild, but yeah, I think that's where we're at.
And then who would be the last person? This is
probably one of the Bills receivers, I would imagine, between Palmer and Elijah Moore.
Yeah, probably Elijah Moore.
I am copium, and I would rather drop Palmer. But Palmer's also one of those guys that, like, if you were selling Mooney to somebody who needed wide receiver depth, just give him a free Palmer for a 4th or some shit, just to get him off of your roster so you don't have to drop him.
Yeah, for sure.
Get the tack on a 4th to whatever deal you're going to get for Mooney, kind of thing.
Mikey also asked, I sent the trade question I went through as expert advice. Was I supposed to actually click on the voucher instead of going through the expert advice?
Personal advice, not expert. Now, as long as you followed expert advice, and I got it on my phone, so you're fine. It said that your question went through. All you have to do is, we're actually in the way of it right now. But all you have to do, if you guys are wondering, there'll be where it says next question on our screen right now, there'll be a button that says personal advice with a little flock bird, and you can go through and redeem trade questions and whatnot there, and then just make sure you click on us.
I noticed the rest
of the creators there.
Mikey and Ronaldo made review purchases. So Mikey did a trade question, Ronaldo did a review purchase. So we will see that
for sure. And he did actually send me a message in the DMs. He said, also looking to shore up my weak wide receiver and running back depth in the draft next year, hoping to bundle 3rd and 4th round future picks and or extra players for potential earlier picks in 26 and 28. If you can get that done, or 26 through 28. Sorry.
Yeah.
If you can get that done, like for example, I think he's
That's a sharp
referring to
pick.
like selling off Wandale, selling off guys
Mooney
like that.
plus a 3 for a 2 or something like that.
Yeah,
moves
I
like
think
that.
that's what he's kind of referring to, and that's a good strategy. Get that production off of your team, get those roster cloggers off of your team, and just keep on your merry way. Collecting better assets would make a lot of sense there. So
like it's almost weird because like technically speaking, you're not competing, but also you have a very good consolidation opportunity, knowing that the base of this roster is going to come through the next 2 draft classes.
Yeah, like the way you want to handle rosters like this is the way that the Jacksonville Jaguars and Carolina Panthers handled their expansion teams in 1996, which was they brought in 1 million free agents, see who could play the guitar, who can, be a starting guard for us, who can be a starting, third corner on our team. And they just churned and churned and churned as many, because they had unlimited cap space when they came into the league. So they were allowed to just sign street free agents, create competition in camp, and just get them off the roster as soon as possible. And that's kind of how you want to handle a team like this. You're just refining until you find a couple diamonds in the rough to make up the core of your team.
For sure. But overall, again, you're in a good spot. Trim some of the fat and you'll be ready to roll.
For sure. Brockodile, next team here. He's got the
Classic.
Straw Hats listed. Number 2 team. He said he made a lot of moves in the rookie draft to get a future first and pick up some falling values.
Yep.
What moves should he make now and then wait till closer to the season starts?
Basically, just asking, are there any moves I should make aggressive now or be patient considering I'm a house money team is basically the vibe I'm getting from it.
Yeah, and he also is wondering if he should maybe explore a Genty trade as well.
Start 10 best ball. Keep this in mind.
Yeah, so you can see the team. This looks a lot like teams that you and I have for sure. You got Drake May, Kyler Murray, Justin Herbert. Again, very solid. I am very much on the camp of kind of shopping Justin Herbert, especially when he's your third quarterback. In this situation.
Absolutely.
I would absolutely be willing to tear down from Justin Herbert as a third quarterback down to a JJ McCarthy, a Michael Penix, a Bryce Young, somebody like that if you can.
If you wanted to get dirty too,
on top of it, maybe a young running back, maybe more picks.
Yeah, if you wanted to get greasy too, you can even get cheaper, to be honest, even like a dart range, because it is a best ball format. We got to keep this in mind. Yeah, if you can down tier Herbert, get a first round pick attached or a young piece attached, I think that'd be your best interest. We'll look at some Herbert suitors in a second. Overall, though, you asked, should I move some of my picks and go make a splash and try to get aggressive and trade for Genty? Honestly, I'll tell you right now, in a best ball format, I kind of like how you built your running back core, especially knowing you're a house money team, seeing what Tootin can give you, what Giddens can give you, Brooks, Marks, Smith can give you on a week-to-week basis, Hunter, ETN can give you on a week-to-week basis. Like, they're not guys that I feel confident will have immediate workloads, but because you don't have to set a lineup, they're guys that I'm comfortable that will have spike weeks.
Yeah, especially when you factor in that, like, the way your wide receiver core is made up as it currently is constructed, could break right and be competitive for you.
2 running back spots a week.
And let alone that every wide receiver that you have in your top 7 wide receivers is under the age of 24. So they're probably not going to be at their best in their careers this coming season, which means that if they are good and they are giving you great production, the best is probably yet to come there. Same goes for the tight end core. Loveland, Pitts, Theo Johnson, probably not giving you the best kind of production specifically out of your number 1 tight end, Colson Loveland there, that he's going to give you in the long term. I will say you have 3 Chicago Bears and no Caleb Williams. And because it's a best ball format, seeing what Drake to Caleb would potentially cost you, maybe you can even get something on top of Caleb for Drake. You're like mega stacking the Bears right now. So it kind of makes sense to have Caleb.
Go to the team that has Caleb Williams, because I actually have quite the idea. If he only has 1 quarterback on his roster, we could make a pretty big move.
Coochie Punchers. That guy's team name is.
Yo.
Where is Caleb Williams?
Caleb and nothing.
Is also the name of his team.
Yes. So you know what you're going to do here? You're going to be like, hey, listen, I have Kyler Murray plus Justin Herbert. I want Caleb Williams plus your first round pick. If you can get Caleb plus Travis Hunter.
That's what I would go to the negotiating table with. I mean, but then you're going to have a new problem, is that you have BTJ and Travis Hunter, and now you need to go trade for Trevor Lawrence.
I'll worry about that problem when I have to.
Would you, let me ask you this. Would you take Caleb Williams and Garrett Wilson for, you probably need more than that, I would imagine, for Justin Herbert and Drake May?
Yes.
Yeah, like Caleb Williams.
Make it Kyler Murray and we're talking. I would want to pair Caleb Williams and Drake May. obviously. But
Oh, I see what you mean. Yeah,
yeah,
you could sell Kyler Murray instead
Kyler
of
and
Drake May.
Herbert.
That makes sense. Yeah. I mean, if he offered you, let's say he offered you Caleb Williams, Garrett Wilson, and Devontae Smith for Drake May, and
No,
Justin Herbert.
no.
I would definitely consider doing that. Would you do Caleb Williams, Garrett Wilson, and a 26-1?
Caleb Williams, Garrett Wilson, and a 26. Again, I would just rather move Kyler than Drake. I
Yeah,
want
that's
Caleb
fair.
and Drake long term.
I'm just giving
Yeah.
hypotheticals, but regardless,
for
this
sure.
guy's name is Caleb Williams is a bust, and because you have 3 of Caleb Williams' best pass catchers, it kind of makes sense that you
do your due
potentially get him on the
diligence.
team.
Do your due diligence.
Like he's already correlated so heavily to your success, you might as well get him.
Yeah. Let me see also who is on the family team.
The family. Oh, like his picks.
Yeah, I want to see what that team looks like because he's got
the number 1 contenders pick by the look of it. This guy's team is pretty decent, but it's pretty shallow. So I would say it's probably about a mid one, give or take.
I mean, he's got kind of a whack quarterback core, and his tight ends could die, but he's got good.
In a best ball, I think he'd have a fine chance to make the playoffs. I'd say he's probably somewhere between the 105 and 108.
Yeah, I'd probably give it like 104 to 108.
Yeah.
Let me see what the bottom 3 teams look like. Are they like clear outliers?
No,
okay, it's a pretty spread out league. The worst team is 13.
I mean, this guy's team isn't even that great. He just has really good assets at the top.
Yeah. That's the thing too. Yeah, his receivers suck.
Yeah, his receivers are bad. Like you might have like between your
that guy loses Gibbs for any period of time, as he might be cooked.
Yeah, like this guy's team is really shallow. The other guy's team doesn't really have a whole lot of stud factor. Your team's in a house money window. Between the 3 first rounders that you have, you might have 104, 106, and 107. You know what I mean? Like it's not like any of these firsts are going to be like 112.
Well, exactly, and that's a good spot to be. Overall, though, with this team, you said, what moves should I make or should I hold pack as a host money contenders? Sure, if no great offer with the Caleb Williams we mentioned comes, you can hold. But his name is literally Caleb Williams is a bust. And you have 2 very strong quarterbacks that you would need to consolidate. Or sorry, you have 3 very strong quarterbacks you need to consolidate down to 2 and a solid 3. He would be your best guy to do it. If you're throwing 2 quarterbacks at a guy whose current core is a guy he views as a bust and a guy who literally signed with the Jets this offseason after being a tandem starter this past year.
Yeah, I think that guy would be hella interested in a Kyler. Like, and who knows? That's one other thing that I didn't talk about in that deal is that you could get Fields on the way back as your 3rd quarterback.
Well, that's the thing. Okay, let me ask you this. Let's just say the cost was Caleb, Travis, and Fields for Herbert, Kyler, and a piece. Are you doing it?
Yeah, I would.
Yeah, I would too.
Yeah.
Now, let's see what that piece.
What if it's Drake and Herbert for Caleb, Fields, and Hunter? Would you do that? No, you wouldn't.
I think I would actually. What am I talking about?
Yeah, I think I would.
I would. Sorry, I'm just. I'm getting overly attached.
It's fun to think about. Yeah. This is a team.
I would just so much rather do Kyler than Drake if I can.
Of course, yeah. This is just a team that you can have fun with. Because, like, realistically, worst case scenario, you stink it up a little bit this year. You're like the 105, something like that. You have 3 picks in the middle of the first round. You're able to fill out the running back core, the young running backs, young wide receivers, young tight ends that you have, young quarterbacks even that you have start to come into their prime going into the future, and you're ready to compete full on next year. This is a definition of a house money team. And the reason I said we have a lot of teams that look like this is because damn near half of my portfolio looks like this, where I have one good running back, a bunch of, better in best ball running backs, and then a loaded wide receiver core, 3 great quarterbacks, and a decent tight end core. This is pretty much my entire portfolio on one team.
Well, I referenced my Flock Me Silly, so I'll just show you the actual parallels because it's quite funny. You got, you have better quarterbacks with me, but it's the same situation where I have picks built up. Like my team isn't ready until 2027, I would say.
I mean, this is like a little bit more. I don't know why it's only showing that many teams, but it's more of a shallow looking version of what he has. He's even a lot deeper than what you have there.
What do you mean? How many teams? Oh, how many players you mean?
Yeah, it looks like there's not that many players.
I think it's just. Oh yeah, no, I just probably don't have roster spots.
Right. Anyways, we can rip back to this team. Like it's pretty straightforward to me. You can the first question he asked basically was Genty manager wants a haul. Let me just go look at who has Genty because I'm curious what we could come up with in case he does want to trade for Genty for whatever reason. We should give him some trade ideas. This guy is the one with Genty. Presumably this guy doesn't really think he has that great of a team, I would imagine. So using some of your first round pick capital would probably make sense.
That's what I mean. I'm just not trading for Genty given the context of this team that it's a best ball, knowing that you have 2026 ones and you're not going to be the top contender this year.
So if all it cost me for Genty was...
He said he would have to overpay. He said in the message.
Okay, so yeah, I mean, if you have to overpay for him, like he wants all 3 ones or something for Genty, like I probably wouldn't do that. But if you could get Genty for 2 ones or something, like I'd probably do it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, but it just depends on what the equatable cost is. If he's saying that I want all 3 ones, and maybe all 3 ones doesn't even get it done, to be honest.
Yeah, like that's just too much.
Yeah.
At that point.
It's not necessarily too much. It's just too much in the context of your team, knowing that if you just wait a year, like you add, what if one of those picks you can get into range for Jeremiah Love, and it only costs like, let's just say one of those picks was the 105, and you had to add a future second to move up to the 102 or 103 because a quarterback or 2 emerged.
Yeah. No, right. that would probably make more sense than burning all your first, especially in a best ball format. Like realistically, you hit on 2 running backs next year, and 1 or 2 of the running backs you currently have is a hit for you, and Henderson's probably going to be one of those. Then you're going to be chilling this time next year. And again, your team's going to be all collectively under the age of 25 pretty much. So
yeah. Fun place to be. I'll tell you that from experience.
Yeah. Chasing Breakers asked an interesting question that I want to just talk about. How do you approach tearing down from an elite quarterback like Lamar? It feels like I can't get anything approaching fair value in a trade that sends back a decent QB. And I'm scared to go cross positionally. And that makes sense. Like not many people are going to be able to tear down from Lamar and not want a quarterback back. The one thing I will say is, tearing down from an elite quarterback is one of the hardest things to do in all of Dynasty because it requires both people to understand just how valuable Lamar Jackson is for the trade to work. And number 3, I guess, it also needs to require usually team needs being met, which doesn't always line up. And the person buying Lamar Jackson probably needs a ton of stockpiled assets and is looking to completely consolidate into one elite asset. It's really challenging that you get deals like have you ever tiered down from an elite quarterback? I've personally never done it in a trade because it's so difficult to do.
I was considering it in no flocking if I got a grandfather offer, but the issue is the grandfather offer has to come because quite frankly, and it sucks. It shouldn't be like this for literally any asset, but they'll do it specifically for top assets. The moment you mention X players available, you're going to get the worst fucking offers you've ever seen. You're going to get like 2 1s plus Geno Smith for Lamar Jackson.
Yeah. Like you need something like this, which is, I've never personally received an offer like this. And to be honest with you, I don't know why you would even accept this.
I've tiered up from offer or from like shakier quarterbacks to elite ones. Like for example, I mentioned even the Josh Allen deal that I made this offseason. I tiered.
I've done that a million times. I'm saying I've never tiered down.
I've never tiered down either. I've never tiered down.
Yeah, a grandfather offer, not a godfather offer. Danny.
Also, is that what I said?
You said grandfather, not godfather.
Oh, fucking grandfather offer. Yeah, no. Sorry, this is off topic. What did Homa ended up shooting -7 by the way today?
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. I haven't been paying attention to the PGA Championship.
I just noticed that because I had 62% home on my rest of the teams that advanced.
Oh, true. Ferris asked an interesting question. I should just quickly address this. He says, how much is a live team review? A live team review for site subscribers with code FSE is 30% discounted, which I believe is about $55. If you are a site subscriber to any other creator, not including us, I think it's about $67. You get a 15% discount. It is $79 full if you're not a site subscriber, but the best way to get a live team review, of course, is to be an annual site subscriber, which I believe Ferris already is, to be honest. But if you guys are wondering, annual site subscribers with promo code FSE, Motherflockers, they have a free team review voucher that they get once a year. So you obviously could sign up annually and get your free voucher and use that on today's review here. That would be the cheapest way to get it. But yeah, I believe because Ferris, I think, is already an annual, I think it's a $55 would be the price for you if you are a subscriber using code FSE.
Yeah, let me know what your flock username is, because if it's just fair straight up, I can't find it in the system. But
yeah, I mean, and maybe he's not. Maybe I'm just making that up. But I thought for his name looks familiar that he's a site subscriber. But anyways, Brantigda. Danny, say the name. I'm stuck at this. Rabid Raccoons is the name of his team, and that's what we're gonna call him for the sake of this.
Brantigda.
Yeah, there you go. Rabid Raccoons team review. He did not send me any comments, but he does have comments up here. He said, only done Dynasty for 2 years, so relatively new. Not good at trading. Can't find people that want to trade. Is it me or them? I mean, it's possible that it's you. to be honest with you
I
guys,
never have issues trading. I'm not gonna lie.
when people say that there's never any trades in their league, it's because every league manager has a fleece mentality, including you.
So I will add a little bit of context. The inverse to that is you're with a league with a bunch of buddies and they all started playing Dynasty and they know you're experienced and they just don't want to hear some guys won't even respond to your messages. I have like one buddy in my league. I'm like, bro, you're on the clock. And it was 24-hour clocks because my buddy said, hey, we're going to start a little bit early because the guys at 101 and 102 wanted to pick. So he made it 24-hour clocks. He didn't message me back till he had 2 hours left on a 24-hour clock. Yo, my bad. I didn't know I was on the clock.
Yeah,
is what I got.
Some people are like there's three
bad.
people in my home redraft league that like actually will auto decline every trade I send them just out of pure principle. Like if I could be sending them, Jamar Chase for Garrett Wilson and RJ Harvey.
They think you know something they don't. Literally, it's happened to me. They'll literally sometimes I'll make an offer and like I'll be losing on face value, but it'll be like a conviction offer for me, like a guy that I have just ranked ahead of consensus and I'm willing to overpay to get, and I'll just get a message like, what do you know that I don't? Like, no matter the offer I send, even if it's like clearly favoring them on the market, the first question is always, what do you know that I don't?
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely dead leagues out there where people aren't active. People don't trade very much. People don't like trading. Like I have a couple league mates in my home redraft league that every time I send them an offer, it's not that they won't trade with me, but they always just send me the same response back. Yeah, I think I'm just going to hold every single time.
I get that all the time.
Offer back from them. They're the worst. And anyways, he's asking, how can I get better at trading? I would say practice is a good way to get better at it. So if you're in more dynasty leagues, the better you'll get at trading. This is my only money league and I need to make it better to win. Have some good young players. What trades can I try? Weaken the flex and bench. What can be done draft focus. So, he wants to know what he should do in the draft with 104, 204, 304, and 404, and then kind of maybe some trade ideas.
This is the most Tet McMillan looking team I've ever seen.
Yeah, I mean, you're definitely going to want to add McMillan because you are weak at wide receiver. It is the weakest position according to the My Team's feature, which, by the way, if you guys are wondering, this My Team's feature is totally free. You don't need to be a site subscriber to use it. But if you want to see my specific rankings or Danny's specific rankings, not just the overall expert rankings, that is site subscribers only. But yeah, this is a really good looking young team, man. Like the quarterback core is really nice. I'm going to say that I like just selling Justin Herbert because I have him way lower than consensus, but for the most part, if you love Justin Herbert, that's totally fine. Bucky Irving, Jonathan Taylor, James Cook, and B-Rob is a very solid. You can compete with that type of running back core. Nico Collins, Marvin Harrison, Calvin Ridley, definitely a little weak. But once you add McMillan to this team, and ideally, I would say too, at 204, this is one thing that I would try and do with a team like this. If this was my team, if Matthew Golden started to slide a little bit, 109, 110, 111, maybe 112 comes around, and he's still on the board, I would try and trade up from 204. To try and get him. Because if I could walk out of my draft with both Tet McMillan and Matthew Golden, because the one issue I have with this team is that you could just take Jaden Higgins or Luther Burden at 204, but I think Burden will be gone and you already have Nico.
Dude, you could offer 204, 304, get into that 109 to 112 range, you're golden.
Yeah. Or, I mean,
no
you're
pun
higher
intended.
on Burden than me. You could also just sit pat and maybe 201, 202 comes around and you can go up and get Burden instead. But I'm personally a little bit higher on Golden than I am on Burden. So I would go up and try and get Burden if
they're
I can.
They're back-to-back for me.
The other thing, too, is like this team's pretty well ready to compete. If your league mates do value picks highly, and it's possible that they don't because it's, a young dynasty league and it sounds like players are inexperienced, you could see what the 204 gets you as far as a veteran wide receiver as well.
Yeah, knowing it's a less active league, I doubt that. Usually in less active leagues, it's more redraft centric because they're not checking their teams this time of the year. I highly doubt you'd get any veteran worth a damn for the 204 in this type of market. Yeah,
like in a league that you and I are in, I could get Chris Godwin or Tyreek Hill for the 204. But like knowing the league markets that he might be in, the 204 might be, Cooper Kupp or something like that, which would not be worth it.
With that in mind, you're selling Jonathan Taylor, right?
Not really, dude. I think this is a team that can compete.
Like I think so too. But
I would say
I think Taylor
this minute, but I would sell him mid-season if things are not going well for me.
I'm thinking in this market, can you get the 103 for Jonathan Taylor? That's why I've referenced it.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Rabid Raccoons, your team and your league market evaluation on your own part, like how do your league mates behave? Is it more of a redraft-centric league? Is it a league where you think you can get a lot of draft capital for a guy like Jonathan Taylor? If that's the case, then yes, try and trade Jonathan Taylor because I would only pay 109 to 112 for Jonathan Taylor in the league markets that I play in. But if your league market's willing to give you a top 3 rookie pick for Jonathan Taylor or a young wide receiver of equivalent
I
value.
take Henderson.
Yeah, like can you get anywhere near Trevion Henderson, Quinshon Judkins territory, whether like that's 105, 106, 107, or as early as 103 potentially to get if you could trade Jonathan Taylor for 103, not only would I not be mad about getting Hampton
Hunter
at
or
103, I
Hampton.
would take Hunter there because I'm sure he would fall in a league format like this.
Dude, he might get Hunter at 104 if these guys are just not accepting trade offers. Because that probably means they're not watching enough Dynasty content to realize that Hunter's probably going to play majority wide receiver, at least early on.
Yeah, 104, whether it's Ted McMillan or a Travis Hunter, it's going to help your wide receiver core big time for you. So, but yeah, I think it's Jonathan Taylor's one guy. Shop him, see what you can get for him on the open market. If you are able to get a big time haul, and a big time haul would be a 106 or higher rookie pick, and or multiple assets that equal up to Jonathan Taylor, to me is valued as like a late first round, maybe plus kind of thing. Like if I was in your situation, somebody offered me 109 and an early or mid to late projected second next year, that would be like the type of deal that I would want to move off of Jonathan Taylor for. So if you can get more than that, then that's obviously excellent.
Well, and this is the other thing too. I think this is another good idea. I just saw Arthur make this. If this is available to you, I would actually inquire. If it only costs is 104 plus Taylor for Genty, I'd be willing to do that too, assuming Hunter's off the board.
The problem is that you're going to be kind of weak at wide receiver if you do that.
Fair.
I would actually rather do that for Brian Thomas Jr. or something.
Also, we got a question from Wingers. You would have to wait for the current term of your sub to expire. Technically speaking, you can't switch codes midterm.
Yeah, so Wingers, I think you can, the way any subscription service works, if you cancel your subscription, then you can use it up until that date and it won't renew. I think that's what you would have to do. And then when you go to renew it, you would just have to change the code that you're doing. I believe you can also go to the site issues part of our Discord and ask the devs to switch it for you as well, if you don't want to worry about making a mistake or whatever. But you can, I believe, just kind of cancel your subscription. And Chasing Breakers is correct. You can also just, if you have another email address that you use, you can also just make a different account.
I actually know some people that have 2 separate accounts because they have like domain on one and FSC on the other, or land on one and flock on the other. Like I've actually had people say that before because they want.
And the reason they would do that is A, because they want to support multiple of us, and B, there's site benefits that they want to get from multiple of us as well.
For sure.
But yeah, that would be the reasoning behind that. But the easiest way is probably just go to site issues and the devs can take care of it for you. But canceling, making a different account, all that kind of stuff would work.
As long as you let Joe and the devs know, all you have to say is, hey, listen, my current renewal is expiring right now. I want for my next term to be with code FSE. If you tell them that and you cancel the renewal on your own end, they'll make sure he already said it before the renewal expired. So therefore, this was the intention even before. Let's just say hypothetically it fucked up and it renewed with that old code, because you would have actually a piece of information saying you wanted to switch before that happened. You would have at least proof.
Yeah, there's devs that we have dedicated.
They're very cool
immediately for you guys. That would be quickly switched over. But anyways,
shout out Arthur, by the way. FSE all day, baby.
Arthur. The last thing I would say on this team is, again, ideally, if you can pivot the Jonathan Taylor asset into a equivalent asset at wide receiver, that would be the best case scenario for me, because I don't think I really need much more than Bucky Irving, James Cook, and Brian Robinson to get by at the running back position. I don't think I need a guy like Jonathan Taylor. As much as I'm a high T running back bro at this point in time, I think wide receiver firepower is a little bit more valuable to this point in your team. But I do like the idea of having like Nico Collins, Marvin Harrison, let's say Ted McMillan at 104, and let's say you pivoted Jonathan Taylor into Garrett Wilson or something like that. That would be great. Then you'd be a lot better off at wide receiver there.
For sure. Also, where else do you get taco tier lists and crash outs? Amen.
Absolutely. Yeah. Taco tier list and crash outs. That's maybe taco tier list could be the name of my flock league team.
Taco tier list.
Yes. For those of you guys that were not in yesterday's stream, anybody that gives me the team name that I use, and Danny's team name for what it's worth too, that we use for the flock league, we're going to have, team names. We're going to keep them the same all year. We're going to get merch designed for our team names and wear our own merch and maybe sell it if it's a hit kind of thing. If you come up with the team name, you'll get a free annual subscription. If it's a really good team name, and it's got to be kind of personalized to Danny's brand of being kind of like a tone setter. My brand is going to be kind of like I'm a dumbass who lost the league, and I'm going to be a high key running back bro now. So that's kind of the central,
As long as you guys don't take name suggestions from the BG comments for my team, I'll be okay.
Yeah, because Danny's team name would be Despicable Human.
Yeah, we're fucking. I'm not even gonna repeat some of the stuff I saw.
Guy in red hoodie is annoying as fuck. Would be the name of my team.
Bro, I'm actually genuinely curious though. Is it just because we're loud?
No, it's because we're new and loud. That's why.
Yeah.
Because we're new, we're fresh meat, man. They're probably sick of making fun of JMO and Gut and all those guys. They've been making fun of them for so long. We're fresh meat to them.
It's like we're despicable humans because if somebody says like a good guess in the trivia, get it right, they think us saying like, "Oh, that was my next guess," isn't just us like saying, "Yeah, that was a good pick." Like that because that's why we're saying it. People think like, "Oh, he's salty."
We talked about this all yesterday.
Yeah,
we can get into the next team here. Tano has a loaded roster that he's this is a brag submission right here. Tano, you're allowed to do this. Don't get me wrong. You guys are allowed to use your submissions on brags. I personally wouldn't if it was me, but Tano used his free voucher just to show us what a monster he built here.
Dude, think of it like this though. He's probably in a lot of leagues with an FSC like under FSE, like probably with FSE community members.
Yeah.
So them seeing him flex this team, they're like, "Oh shit, this guy can build a monster."
Yeah, Tano's in the chat. He said this is the second year of the league. I followed all of your advice and went punt year one. Just wanted to say thank you all for the advice.
Appreciate you.
I guess this is partially our doing here, so we get to take some credit on this.
This is insane, by the way.
This is an unbelievably good team. Gibbs, Genty, Hampton, and Henderson at running back is as goated of a fourth back as you can get. Josh Allen, Bryce Young, JJ, Justin Fields. My piece of advice here is I love Bryce Young. I like JJ McCarthy. Yeah. I wouldn't take the risk with these guys.
Go buy Lamar Jackson with this team.
Go get a better quarterback than some of these dudes especially like your second quarterback. Like if you want to be like, I like JJ, I'm going to keep my third quarterback. Bryce Young plus what gets you up to a better quarterback. You know what I mean? Like I would go up and get a better QB if I possibly could, because your running back core is ready to go. Your wide receiver core is ready to go. And the other thing I might consider doing here is I love Colston Loveland as well. But how much more on top of Colston Loveland gets you to somebody who's going to probably help you out a little bit more this season, where whether it's McBride or Bowers or even up to like a Laporta or something like that, you might be able to get kind of in that vicinity, because you don't really want to be starting Cade Otton for the first 7 games this year with this team, but who knows? Maybe you just are comfortable getting by with a guy like that and using Loveland in the long term.
Yeah, it's funny that we got this, because the video topic, if you guys are curious, that we were talking about tomorrow was basically moves to make depending on the type of dynasty team that you are. We were actually talking about it before stream. So whether you're a league breaker team is what we classify a Tano.
This would be a monster. Yes,
this is a monster. This is a league breaker. We have a couple examples, and basically, as you'll see, I mean, I'll give you guys a macro hint on that video for being in this live stream. But the main advice you guys are going to get there is go buy some monsters, because you have a monster. You have the liquidity of a monster. Go buy another monster. What does Lamar Jackson cost? What does the Jamar Chase, CeeDee Lamb cost? Like, these are the type of players we're getting in, because, I mean, how much on top of Drake London right now do you think you can get up to Jamar Chase?
Yeah, I mean, this guy has like a pretty bad team. And Bijan, I mean, you're already really goated at running back, so you don't really need to go after Bijan necessarily. But like Burrow could definitely make some sense for this team.
He's got his first.
Yeah, you have his first. Not to mention this guy also with Burrow and Bijan, he might be like, okay, and same with Hall too. Like you have all these young running backs. Like you might be able to take Bryce Young, Amari Hampton, and Trevion Henderson and get Bijan, Breece Hall, and Joe Burrow from them.
The issue is it sounds like the guy with Burrow is trying to fleece right now. We got offered Saquon for. Oh, sorry. You mentioned. Okay, so Saquon's not on the Burrow team. I thought you said
no. It has nothing to do with the Burrow. I think this is just a comment. He said I got offered Saquon for Olave, Henderson, and a first. Like, I mean, I wouldn't do that for Henderson and Olave. I wouldn't even pay Henderson in a 1 for Saquon with the team that you have.
Dude, I wouldn't pay Henderson and Olave.
The other thing too is like, I think sometimes people like one thing that we probably won't say in that video tomorrow is by, 28-year-old running backs. Like as much as Saquon Barkley really helps you in a competitive window,
no need.
I would rather buy assets that have long-term staying power if I can. Like if I can help it, I'd rather buy Bijan any day of the week. Like I'll pay more for Bijan than I would pay for Saquon, obviously, but I'd rather do that.
Curiosity, Tano, what was Chase sold for? Because if you can make a similar offer, maybe even a slightly cheaper for any other wide receiver in Dynasty, I'd be willing to do that.
Yeah, like this guy has McBride too, and his team isn't very good. You could go after McBride using Loveland plus on a team like this as well.
I'd be cool doing that.
Yeah, like maybe he'll throw you if you throw him Loveland and a first or something, he might throw you McBride and a 2 back, something like that.
Yep. McBride and a 2, maybe maybe
or maybe and Lamonra. I mean, St. Brown makes sense to go after on a team like this. The other thing too is you can go cheaper in terms of like productive quarterback. Like you could swap Bryce for Dak straight if you wanted to, just if you wanted a more productive quarterback than Bryce and JJ McCarthy. Yeah, this guy has Mayfield too. Like you could go after a guy like that.
Oh, the 3 first guy I bought Allen, same guy with McBride. So the guy with McBride is the one who has Chase?
No, he bought Allen off of the guy with McBride. I think is what he's saying.
Oh, he gave him McBride. Okay.
Yeah.
Guy gave his 26, 1 and 2. That's all it costs for Chase?
26, 1 and 2, other 26. Oh, so he gave 3 ones for him.
In your situation, you could easily match that.
Yeah, you could match that.
You could probably get it cheaper
I don't
for any
think
other
his
receiver.
biggest need is wide receiver though.
No. I'm just saying, like, knowing that value of knowledge can get you like any high ticket asset you want.
This guy's team is primo ground for you because the best friend of a team who has a monster who's trying to consolidate is a team who has great assets, who has no depth. And this guy is CeeDee Lamb and Brock Bowers. And it sounds like he's a little bit unrealistic with some of the offers he sent you already.
Yeah,
but he has Hawkinson too, so he might be more willing to move off of Bowers because he has Hawkinson. You also could just buy Hawkinson if you wanted to because you have McCarthy too. But Lamb, you offer him, Lad McConkey and Chris Olave. Like, does he give you Lamb for that?
For what in Olave?
For CD. You offer him McConkey and Olave for CeeDee Lamb. Like, he might give you that because he needs wide receiver depth.
I mean, if he gives you that, he's faded. But like you
know what I mean? Like, you could offer him Lad McConkey, Chris Olave, and a first, and maybe he gives you TJ Hawkinson and CeeDee Lamb.
Yeah, no, that's the guy who has Lamb is a Cowboys fan, so it sounds like he's not going to do that.
Well, either way, getting a tight end potentially in Bowers, who's an upgrade over Loveland, who would be more productive for you, would also make some sense.
I'm not shocked, by the way.
Yeah, AJ submits every episode now. So, but anyway,
also apologies.
Unbelievable. We're just spitballing at this point.
Apologies for you guys in the YouTube comments. We are getting through our list over on the site first, and then if we have time, we can get through some comments. But if you guys are curious, like why we're skipping around, we are handling the site questions first.
Yeah, for sure. Anyways, I don't think we need to spend more time on Tano's team. It's unbelievable.
Appreciate you.
Good. Yeah, really good team. Realistically, you have a young team too, in addition to it being very valuable. So if you don't want to, if you don't really care about inheriting some risk by holding a Bryce Young or a JJ McCarthy or whatever, you can always do that. The reason I'm saying consolidate is because you do have some risk on your roster, specifically at quarterback.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. At the end of the day, what I will say is because you have that quarterback situation, because you have that pick situation, there's no need to carry that risk. Just go out there, sell the volatile quarterback, add on a couple first, and go get. I mean, we mentioned Joe Burrow. We mentioned, maybe you can get close to Jalen Hurts. Like, what would you have to add on? Even if it costs that you have to throw in like a Golden or a Higgins, you're doing it with this team.
Yeah, like even an Igbuka, like he doesn't really fit kind of like your productive window. You could throw an Igbuka to a team that's looking to rebuild. But anyways, let's keep the train moving here. We'll get into
appreciate you, AJ. Appreciate you, AJ.
Tyler Vassallo, I believe, is the team that we got here. And I think that was a correct pronunciation for the first time in my life.
Vassallo.
So he has key trades listed here as well. Tano, I know Tano sent me 1 million. By the way, he sent me 1 million trades of how he got to the team. Tano, your trades were all good. Like that's the analysis that I have. I like the totality of what you did was elite. That's why I didn't cover them on this on this video here. What do we got? Where is he located? He is 8th. It's a 10-team league. So he's an 8th. He also listed some of his key trades. Let's talk about the team itself. First, 3 ones in the future and 10-team league. Those are guaranteed top 10 picks.
Yep.
Are any of them Kung Fu Pandas? Yeah, this guy's got the last team in the league, and that's going to be a high first. So that's great. You also have your own first, which will probably be at least mid, I would imagine. And then LaMarvelous.
Honestly, how close is this team? Or how close is
this
this
guy
league?
seems kind of shallow too. That could very easily be an early first with some injuries.
How close is this league at the top? Because this being a number 8, like, yeah, like look how spread out it is. Holy crap.
Yeah, the like 1 through 8 is like 3. Pretty close.
Yeah, especially like I there's a little bit of gap with the 1-2, but regardless, the main difference in the gap right now is if you had this exact team with another top 8 to 10 quarterback, it'd be really fucking good.
Yeah, no, exactly. Also, Bajort says your Twitter post about the Leafs have me dead. Well, make sure you're following tonight because I will crash out again if the Leafs show up.
Go Panthers!
Fucking game in Game 5. That was ridiculous. Anyways,
go Panthers.
Yeah, shut up. Two quarterback league. Caleb Williams is the only guy that you got rolling right now. Genty is your only real running back. BTJ, Wilson, Zay Flowers, Golden, and Burden's a nice core. Tyler Warren going to lock down your tight end spot for the foreseeable future. Hopefully you get some quarterbacks next year because you don't really have an avenue about getting one at the moment. Like next year, we feel confident there'll probably be a couple of quarterbacks that you'll be in the market for, but we don't know for sure if Arch Manning's going to be in the class or if Garrett Nussmeier is going to be a
Lenore Sellers, baby.
Yeah, Lenore Sellers. I've seen people, definitely say he could be the QB1 in next year's class. I'm not guaranteeing that he's in next year's class. He could be in 2027's class as well.
Dude, if all these guys reclassify for 2027 might be the greatest class of all time.
It might be legitimately dude, if Arch Manning, Lenora Sellers, Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, all these dudes are in the 2027 class. It's going to be ridiculously good. We need to start
on top of already having Jeremiah Smith, Ryan Williams, DJ Lagway, dude, Cam Coleman showed signs, Nick Marsh showed. There's so many guys in the college atmosphere right now that are eligible in 2027. And like you said, if any of the 2026 eligibles were to stay back another year because of the NIL implications, you've already heard people saying go buy 2027 ones at the beginning of this past collegiate season once Ryan Williams and Jeremiah came onto the scene.
This might be a generational class if we get Arch and some of these other guys in the class too.
It may end up being your last chance to buy 2027 ones is today.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And the one thing I really want to hammer home too is I am no longer going to start assuming that juniors are coming out as juniors anymore. It's until we get unless you're because Jeremiah will probably come out as a junior because he'll be a top 5 pick in the draft. Yeah. But especially a second round running back or something, he's gonna make $8 million playing if he Justice Haynes is making a shit ton of money. He did nothing for Alabama. He transfers to Michigan. He's making a shit ton of money now.
Him and Marsh are gonna be a nice little duo there. I'm excited.
But you know what I mean? Running backs especially, I'm gonna almost start assuming that they're gonna be 4-year players. There's no guarantee Jeremiah's in this class.
Yeah. Could you imagine?
Jeremiah could be in 27 too.
Oh my God.
Jeremiah's only 19.
Also, shout out Spicy. If you guys get the reference, he actually was at the museum where they held the original Annabelle doll. We were talking about that, but legitimately, the 1970s doll that the Annabelle movie, the horror film, was based off of, he went to go see today. So
tell him to throw it in the Florida Panthers locker room. I need some voodoo happening to their team instead of ours.
Bro, you could have convinced me that it was Austin Matthews trapped in that design church or whatever.
I'm not convinced that he wasn't wearing Steven Lorenz's jersey.
Well, have you ever seen Good Luck Chuck? You know that movie?
No.
You've never seen Good Luck Chuck?
I've heard of the movie, but I've never seen it.
Well, it was basically the whole premise of it was this evil goth girl that he hooked up with and didn't enjoy the experience. She got I don't know, she was made fun of or something and hexed him or whatever. And the hex was any girl he hooked up with, she would find the person that she would marry with the next person. That was his curse.
Oh, was it a Jack Black movie?
No, it was what's his face? Dane. What's his face? Dane, the comedian.
Dana Carvey.
No, fucking the guy that gives you Matt Rife vibes. Dane something.
Dane Cook.
Dane fucking Cook. So the whole premise of the movie was he was hexed for the while until he apologized.
Maybe I have seen this movie.
Till he apologized to the goth girl when he was later
I think I did see this. This is an old movie, right?
It's 2004.
I think this is primo movie time for me.
But like the whole premise was like he had this curse for the longest time, and then Jessica Alba's character was the one he actually fell in love with, and she was like a super, like penguin girl, like like she loved the Arctic. That was like the whole like
2004 is also peak Jessica Alba.
Oh yeah, absolutely, fucking rocket, Fantastic Four. Jessica Alba, sign me up. But yeah. So basically he got unhexed at the end of the movie, and then like they ended up marrying and stuff. And I'm saying like somebody's got to have a hex on Austin Matthews for making it to the conference final, because like that has to be a thing right now, right?
Dude, yeah, I've definitely seen this movie also.
100%.
Yeah, this is a classic. It's 07, which is
07,
also
okay.
Peak time for movie watching. Dude, for myself.
I just remember that movie and Click and Fantastic Four all happened within a few year area, because I was like 4 to 7 years old in that area. Yeah. Fucking Click was like one of the early movies I remember.
Yeah, that's a classic. But anyways, back to the team we're talking about here, and Austin Matthews, figure your shit out. This is a team that all I have to say is you are in a position where you just need to add a couple of things and you're going to be ready to go. Because like realistically, mid-season, if your team was performing, like this is one of those teams that we always talk about, your team's doing well for whatever reason, Caleb Williams having a great breakout, Caleb Johnson maybe having a nice rookie season, things are breaking right for you. You have 3 1s. Yep. One of them definitely projected early, and there's upside that the other 2 are early as well. You could make a move for a quarterback at some point. And it doesn't even necessarily have to be a quarterback that's productive. Like, let's say a really good quarterback goes down with an injury and is out for the year or something like that. You could buy your quarterback then instead of waiting for the rookie draft to get it. Like, let's say Burrow misses 8 games with a grade 3 hamstring pull or something like that. You could go after somebody like him.
That's a fantastic point. And I think it's something that needs to be expressed more. Is people are very hesitant. Oh, I'm in a rebuilding window, so I can't buy assets that are older. But specifically when it's an asset, like, for example, there was an opportunity when Burrow got hurt a couple years ago. Yeah, sure, he is older, 28, 29, but he's a guy that we know is healthy, will regain market value. So theoretically, even if it's just a short-term flip, like there's a watch flipper I've been watching in YouTube Shorts. His name is Vookum or whatever in New York. But basically what he does, he buys watches for X amount, like off of like another New York City store or a New York City watch retailer. And he goes and sells those direct watches to people that were looking for that specific watch. And he'll profit like $500 to $1,000 every time. So it's like, even though your goal isn't say, oh, I'm going to buy Burrow because he fits my window. Even if you just buy the asset for the cheap right now, knowing inherently when he's fully healthy with the weapons core, with the deal that he has, he's going to go back to being a top 12 level asset. Yeah, explore it. And we're saying Burrow specifically, but that could be literally any.
It could be anyone. Like me and you were actively buying Calvin Ridley when he was suspended. You remember that? Like that was the same thing. It was like when you were getting him for a late 2 and he was like a top 5 receiver the year before. It's like it's a guaranteed profit virtually.
Sometimes you're flipping $50,000 Rolexes and sometimes you're flipping $6,000 watches. It's like, yeah, they're different in terms of the scaling, but the end goal is the same.
This is why we buy storage lockers.
Yes.
Essentially, like you found a storage locker where you paid $200 for it and you made $1,000 off of it. So that's pretty much the goal there. And yeah, I would definitely be on the hunt for quarterback assets that go down with injury, especially if they're like insulated. Like I'm not saying, Michael Penix goes down with an injury, you buy him because he has a lengthy injury history and that'd be pretty risky. I'm saying,
less volatile
gets hurt or something like that.
Yeah, for sure.
For sure. But yeah, I think we could probably move on. Again, worst case scenario, you're going to probably spend those picks on quarterbacks. And like all you really need is like another running back added and a quarterback, and you're probably ready to compete with this team. So again, keep an eye out, monitor your success throughout the year, and then you should be on your merry way to be able to compete with a team like this. But it is a 10-team league, so you want to be really strong pretty much across the board at other positions there. Let me go next question if it's going to let me. There we go. Arthur, and then we will refresh. If you don't see your question and you submitted one, I'll refresh it in a second. You guys will see it. Arthur's here. He says, defending champ. Is this a brag team, Arthur? Are you brag teaming again?
Hey, he's one of the top 3. Okay, so it's at least more. Yeah, okay. It's definitely
not a brag team. But anyways, defending champ. This is a half per rush receiving first down. So a little bit of running back pilled, bro league. I respect it as a new running back as he lists. Omar at 2, Judkins at 7 are my plans. Trying to trade up from 11 or 12. Got May for 2 late projected 26 1s, which is a great deal. Mixon and Javonte, you also sounds like you traded those guys in addition to the firsts. Got 102 for Rice, Jalen McMillan, and Gino, also free cash. what direction would you go? I mean, I would keep trading with these buffoons would be the first direction.
Yeah, guess what? Hey, Ashton Genty, member of my team. Derrick Henry, you're on your way out. 102, Travis Hunter, you're a member of my team. Can you sell high on Jameson Williams maybe at that point? Like, you have so much flexibility given the state of this roster. This is one of my favorite situations to be in when you're in a house money spot and you have your main anchors, May and Williams at quarterback, Etienne and Brown at running back. You're going to add your wide receiver anchor in this draft.
You're also going to add tight end. Going to be another running back anchor for you.
Like, you can already envision this team right now with the green label players at the top, plus those 2 highly valued top 10 quarterbacks. And you're envisioning, oh my God, like when this team is going to grow and mature together, I have all guys that are between 21 and 25 years old, pretty much. Except for McBride. He's 26, but he's tight end.
So let me ask you this. Would you take Hampton with this team? Because I wouldn't. I would take Hunter with this team.
Absolutely Hunter.
Well, he said he was going to take Hampton at 2, but like you're getting Genty at 1.
I mean, like unless you got inside. I mean, it's non PPR. Okay, that's actually a notable point.
I don't think it's non PPR. He just mentioned that it's a point. Oh yeah, it is. It's standard plus it's half point per rush and receiving first down. So yeah, I mean, like Hampton absolutely would be the running back. Like he would be over Hunter and McMillan for sure.
That makes.
And you won't get Judkins at 7. I don't think he'd probably go ahead of that.
You're just playing running back through the flex in a non PPR.
Yeah, which is what you should be doing. Because I remember I did a study on it a couple of years ago that like the RB23 that year, Travis Etienne outscored like the wide receiver 10. Like, and especially when you add bonuses to that, like this is an unk league. This is as unk as it gets.
Yeah, no, 100%. Running
back, Derrick Henry, Pace Brown, Genty, Amarian Hampton, and H-Man on this league. That's insane.
Dude, those standard league bros going up against your team in the playoffs is probably pissing down their leg.
Yeah, that's a lot of touchdowns.
Like Chase Brown with the highest opportunity share in the league. Derrick Prime King Henry down the playoffs.
Charbonnet outscored Marvin.
Yeah, like, yeah, just this is the optimal build then. To be honest, this is the optimal build. Like,
yeah. Also, Mason, to answer your question, why are there more people watching this than the Underdog draft? That would be 133 episodes of Dynasty Decisions to, I don't know, 40 total Underdog drafts we've done in the history of our channel, 50 total Underdog drafts that we've done.
People love the DD streams. I can't lie. People love it.
Yeah, for sure. But anyways, the plan I think is sound. You're going Genty. You're going, I mean, can you start? Judkins would be my only thing. Because at 107 in a league format like this, you might actually have Hunter slide to you. Like realistically.
Yeah.
Like Henderson's going to go. Judkins could go. Like McMillan or Hunter could reasonably be on the board for you.
Yeah. And guess what? You're living the best of both worlds here. Hey, guess what? It's either Travis Hunter that falls to you at 107 or you just take Henderson or Judkins.
Don't be saying best of both worlds like that. I'll get the limo out front right now.
Best of both worlds?
Dude, Maria gets sometimes fed up with me because my childhood crush was Miley, and it was like not even close. Like it was just the goated childhood crush of anybody who's born 1996 to 2001, probably.
You're not lying, bro. You're not lying. Like fucking man, I miss old sitcoms. That's what I miss. Like the YTV sitcoms, like the whole.
You haven't even watched the good ones, man. Get out of here,
bro. Come on. Of course I did. I was born in 2000.
You watch Seinfeld, Friends, any of those? No.
Those
are the good sitcoms.
Okay, no, bro. You literally mentioned fucking Hannah Montana.
Those are the kids sitcoms.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah, kids sitcoms.
Yes, absolutely. By the way, absolutely.
Here, Vanessa Hudgens does not clear Miley. Get out of here.
Vanessa Hudgens, like that was the one. That was the one. She was the one.
Speaking of pop culture references of the early 2000s, do you know Macaulay Culkin and London Tipton from Life of Zach and Cody are married?
Bro.
Oh, yeah. I was there. I was in New Jersey when I discovered that.
Well, I showed you first, and you're so shocked because I was watching a clip when they were at the Lakers game. She was getting intense, and he had like no clue what was going on. I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, wait, London Tipton, just an avid basketball enjoyer?
Imagine if Kevin was staying at the Tipton.
Oh God, bro!
Imagine you just have Macaulay Culkin's like Home Alone character, like a little bit grown up, obviously, and he just like is staying at the Tipton Hotel or whatever.
They should do like a new movie with that
Home Alone Sweet Life crossover.
The Sweet Life of a Home Alone Kid or something.
Yeah, that is a crazy crossover. And like Mr. Mosby and Esteban are trying to break into the hotel or something, and Kevin's setting the traps.
Bro, no, that shit was comedy. I always wondered, I'm like, what the fuck is the mom doing during all this?
Yeah. But anyways, we are doing the classic Arthur tangent when we break down his team. Always Arthur's team.
Appreciate you, Arthur.
How is Miley over Vanessa?
I gotta go with Vanessa.
My heart
That's
says
though.
that. That's why. Anyways, this team is insane. It's a standard league. You're gonna have these elite players at running back. You're gonna be just chilling, dude. Like between how many touchdowns over under do you get? Achane, Genty, Chase Brown, Hampton, Derrick Henry in one season?
80?
75?
Henry might score 18 to 21 alone.
Minimum 15 from Henry, probably at least 12 from Achane.
Chase Brown too.
Yeah, here comes Mason with his absolutely mediocre music takes every time.
Dude, he's going to be like, have you guys heard the new Drake album?
Yeah, no, for what it's worth, I actually do like Morgan Wallen. It's just Mason has the most vanilla ice cream taste in music I've ever heard in my life.
No, word for word from Mason when we were in the Uber drive to Yankee Stadium. Well, actually, we stopped at the pizza bar before, but word for word from Mason. Well, there's a reason why they're the most listened artists. Like they're objectively the best, is what I heard from coming out of Mason's mouth. And I'm like, okay. It depends on what your view is of music. If you're just saying chart topping, okay, that's one way to look at it. For me, music is just subjective, man. It's like they could be doing stuff that really clicks with a certain, like, fucking club vibe or wedding, or not wedding vibe, but you know what I mean? Like there's certain songs that will click with certain like big group vibes and others that don't.
Remember when Drake made a dance album and everyone decided that they like dance music all of a sudden? They're like, it's good for a dance album. It's like, you don't listen to dance music. Shut up.
Yeah. And I agree with this. It's like we were having a conversation of conversation because it was during the Kendrick versus Drake, and he's like, well, Drake's the superior artist. Just look at the numbers. And I'm like, bro.
Nah, like in terms of raw ability, Morgan Wallen is nowhere near the GOAT. But in terms of marketability as a country artist, Morgan Wallen is excellent at his job. And of mainstream country artist land, I prefer Luke Combs personally.
Yeah, no, all I remember, I don't listen to much country in general. Like, obviously, like when I'm out with the boys and we're drinking, it's like, oh, cool. Like a Zach Bryan will pop on. The boys will be like, oh, yeah, fucking whatever.
Yeah, Zach Bryan's just objectively way better than Morgan Wallen.
Yeah. Well, because Zach Bryan's like closer to our age too, like it's just like we're just listening and revival.
He's just more talented. He's way better singer. He's a way better songwriter. He's just better than Morgan Wallen. It's just not like, again, as a pure talent as a musician, he's just better. Morgan Wallen is, you could say he's like, you like his music more or whatever. That's obviously subjective. I'm just saying he's like, Zach Bryan is a more talented artist than Morgan Wallen.
Yeah, facts. Mason views music like he's studying for a best ball draft. Well, this guy had more points last year, so he's the best.
And then just mix in his Trey Lance, his little Uzi Vert takes.
Yo, I respected you for that. You're like, yo, I was one of the first that listened to Lil Uzi Vert's back on sound. When I heard that, I'm like, okay, I can hear
Uzi's objectively trash, but if you like Uzi, you like Uzi. You know what I mean?
Early Uzi was a banger though in high school, man.
Yeah, he was sick when we were in high school for sure. No. Mason's the same age as me, so I was peak Uzi time too, which was like when we were grade 10, grade 11, grade 12 is when Uzi was at his peak.
And mine was 9 to 11. Mine was literally actually 8 to 11 because I found him in grade 8 because my buddy Trey sent me the SoundCloud. He's like, bro, like you got to listen to this guy. So similar story to Mason, but
yeah, the 2016 freshman cypher were all SoundCloud rappers, like literally every single one of them. And Denzel was the guy that I liked the most.
Denzel was awesome.
Denzel's just the most, again, I think he's way more talented than the rest of the guys there. So
well, that goes back to it. It's like from a pure talent perspective, I would agree with you. I think Denzel's a stud. His recent album, oh my God, it had the blue background. It was one of the best albums of the year that came out. I think 2021. Denzel. What was the album?
Yeah, I know what album you're talking
with
about.
Walk In and all those songs on it. I forget.
I don't really listen to him much anymore, but back then I listened to him like a ton.
Let me see. It was one of the best albums of the year, though. That's why I'm bringing that up. It was going to be like 2021 area. Ain't Always a song on it. What's the actual album name? It's showing songs instead of fucking albums for some reason.
Yeah. If you guys need to get a deadlift PR, just listen to Babylon, that EDM song that Denzel has. You need a deadlift PR or bench press PR. Like there's no song on planet Earth that hypes me up more than that song.
Melt My Eyes, See Your Future.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
Insane album. And actually, it came right after Unlocked happened, or Unlocked came out in my first year of university. And
this is not what I thought we would be talking about.
Sorry. But if you've listened to the Unlocked album, he performed with, I think it was Kenny Beats. They did like a whole video game fucking
Kenny
music
Pickett?
video for it. Yeah, literally. He did like a whole music
with Kenny Pickett, actually.
He did like a whole like video game music video for it. And there was like looking at your face is so incredible. Like Cosmic was on it. Fucking there was like 8. Sorry. By the way, apologies, Arthur.
Mason, refresh page isn't working. You got to fire Joe immediately.
Yeah. Squeeze 2 lemons, get all you. Yes, sir. Beaujord's got it. Yeah, you got it. That album was sick. Also, apologies for the non-football.
All right, I got to refresh this because for some reason it's not working.
Yes, sir. It goes crazy, brother. It goes crazy. I'm glad you mentioned that Denzel. He's a beast.
Mason, do I have to paste in the YouTube link again? I guess I'm going to right now, but I'm just curious if I ever have to refresh the page, is it going to go off the previous YouTube link that I had from before?
Such a great song.
We do have more questions to get into here, and then I'm also starving, so let's try and get through them a little faster. Michael said league is lower on Hunter. Do I trade back? I got 103. Okay, so he's kind of, if the league is lower on Hunter and you're thinking about getting cute here, I would say, frankly, that you should just take him and look smarter than everyone by taking him at 103. But the furthest I would go is probably 104, 105.
Let's take a look. Who has each pick?
Yeah, let's take a look at who has each pick.
That will be context I would have to ask for you personally. How far back can you go with
and like is that person low on Hunter to your knowledge as well?
And yeah, that would be the point with guaranteeing that you can get him there.
Like you this would have guy, maybe he would like. So I'm assuming at 103, Hampton's going to be off the board, because that's probably who's going 102. So this guy needs wide receivers. Maybe he's not super high on Hunter, or maybe you just don't care enough to be like, I'm going to take Hunter or I'm going to take McMillan. Maybe you're just like, I'll take whoever falls. You could slide down one spot here and have this guy presumably take McMillan if he's lower on Hunter, and you could get Hunter 104. And frankly, I wouldn't go any lower than that.
Yeah,
like
I mean,
in an alternate parallel universe, with certainty you can get him at 108.
Honestly,
go nuts. But I would just go down to 104.
In a 10-team start 9, it's not even worth the risk of pocketing a second and him not being there.
These guys were talking like he's a second round, unless Mike, unless you have. You have absolute knowledge that every single person in your league won't take him. There's no point in taking him.
If that's the case, again, you're going to know that a lot better than we are. I have to ask you, if you move down to 108 or 109 and Travis Hunter, somebody capped and they said he was a second rounder and then took him at the 106, how would you feel? Would you feel more worried about the possibility of missing out on him, or more worried about missing out on a potential big-time offer to move down and still pocket him? Because I think regardless, your team needs Travis Hunter. It's just a matter of, can you get cute and get him? If you think there's any possibility where you wouldn't get him from trading down, don't trade down.
Yeah. If you're mad, I would just take him 103 if you're mad. Like, are you going to be mad if you trade down to 104 and the guy at 104 takes your 103 and takes Travis Hunter and you get Ted McMillan instead?
If you're thinking 105 easy and you know that they all love the running backs, that would be the furthest I would go. Let's look at what the 105 has.
These two teams are the two teams that you're looking at. This guy
needs a quarterback.
Absolutely in danger of taking Travis Hunter and or McMillan.
He needs a quarterback.
He does need a quarterback. So if you think he's going to take Cam Ward, then definitely. But
you know what you do with this? So you go to the guy. So the guy above had what? JJ McCarthy and Lamar Jackson. So what you do with this guy is you say, or you leverage the JD Bowers and Associates guy, and you say, hey, listen, this guy has Lamar Jackson, but JJ McCarthy didn't play as a rookie, a little bit unproven as a quarterback too. He could be interested in Cam Ward. So your goal now is to say to the 105 guy, hey, I have a feeling that this 104 guy is taking Ward. If you want Ward, I'm offering you the opportunity. Oh, it's a one quarterback league. Okay, that changes everything then. Never mind. Good point.
Maybe he's going to take Henderson or whatever, but like that would be stupid considering he has Mixon, Henry, and no good wide receivers.
Yeah. So my apologies. I thought it was a 2 quarterback league, but regardless,
I would probably only go down to 104 personally.
I probably wouldn't even go down, but like if you feel like you can, then try.
Yeah, like if this
Yeah.
guy's gonna, if you know this guy's not gonna take him.
I love Hunter. This is fine price for Hunter. If you were to sell Hunter, this is about what I'd be looking for.
Yeah,
So.
if this guy is, you are certain he is going to take a running back over Hunter, or he's going to take McMillan over Hunter, or something like that. And
That's
you
the
wanna
other
get
thing too.
If you want to get some juice on top of it, this 104 is probably the guy I would trade with personally.
Yeah, you can try and pinch pennies and see if you can.
Yeah,
get
like
the
this
value,
guy gives you James Cook in 104 for 103, and you still feel like you can get Hunter for it, and he's worried about the James Cook situation. Sure, go ahead and do that.
Yeah, I mean that might not be available, but like you can try.
Yeah, but like I want something real in return.
Yeah.
Like, am I going down one spot to risk not getting Hunter for a 26 second? No, I would just take Hunter.
Exactly. No, I agree with you there. Yeah, we need Fletsky to pick in the Devy League bag. He's probably working, so it makes sense.
Yeah, facts. Anyways, that is the direction I would go with that 103 decision. Obviously, is I would lean towards just picking there, and then unless you get a really decent plus on top of it, I would probably just chill. Okay, Ronaldo. Malik Neighbors Hood Rats is the name of his team, which is the 5th team in the league.
Yep.
And his questions, he's got just traded Kincaid 207 and a third for Evans and Andrews. Any other moves to make?
Seems reasonable.
Very reasonable move that you made there. I really like that.
Even if we just said, honestly, Kincaid plus 207 for Andrews. Actually, no, sorry. I thought the third was on the other side. I was going to say Andrews in the third, but it was on the other side. Regardless, though, even if it was Evans for Kincaid in the 207 and then it was the third for Andrews, like no matter how you slice it, I kind of like it.
Yeah, I definitely think so. Danny, if you don't mind, I'm going to wrap up this team review and then I'm going to head out. If you don't mind handling
I can do the last few.
The remaining 2 or 3 that are there. Sorry. I forgot I had a thing that I had to do at 2:00.
No, you're chilling.
Any other moves to make? I have my first to trade away as well. Okay, so Jalen Hurts, Trevor Lawrence, Josh Jacobs, Christian McCaffrey, Malik Neighbors, AJ Brown, DK Metcalf. I mean, you're pretty much trying to compete at this point. And then again, he said he traded Kincaid away in exchange for Andrews and Evans there. So you add Evans to the receiver core, you add Andrews to the tight end core. This is a pretty stereotypical, like you're in for this year kind of team.
Yeah, no, exactly. Pretty self-explanatory with Jacobs and McCaffrey as the basis of your running back core. It's pretty clear. Go and try to contend again this year. You have a couple pieces of liquidity. You have, for the most part, all of your picks other than your 2026 second. At that point, if you have to make an addition to the squad, feel free to. Again, it is a start 9 half PP or half tight end premium league. So because it's a start 9, if we're plotting out starters here, Hurts and Lawrence in your lineup, Kincaid or Ferguson, more than likely going to be Ferguson for me. Like I think Kincaid is kind of actually over ranked here. I don't know if that's your ranking at 12.
Yeah, I have Kincaid. I don't have him at 12. I don't know why he's listed there. I think he's at 13 or 14 for me, but he's in that relative range, give or take.
Yeah, regardless though, whether it's Ferguson or Kincaid, like a little bit spotty of a situation, but that's something that you can address in season as opposed to doing right now. Like worst case scenario, I mean, I doubt he's going to be at this level of production he was last year, but if Zach Ertz was back giving you tight end 1 production like he was at the end of last year, would you send that 2026 3 for Zach Ertz in this situation?
Honestly, I'm fine rolling with the tight end that you have.
I agree
that you have now. Like I'd be cool with it. Like I know Kincaid's kind of a bum and Ferguson's mid as fuck, except for Danny, who doesn't think that.
He's better than Kincaid.
You can get by with those tight ends. Like, but week 1 for sure. Yeah, you'd be starting Ferguson over Kincaid.
Goals to compete, break it down for 20. Yeah, I would agree with that alignment. Also, Jake Ferguson clears Alton Kincaid. Let's not even go there.
Yeah, I mean, I still think the upside that Kincaid is more productive is there.
His upside of being urine has been on display.
I mean, he stinks. Don't get me wrong. He stinks. But there's a 5 to 10% chance he doesn't stink.
No. He stinks.
He's probably that.
But either way, though, your starters are set. You have some upside on the bench. Like if we go down to some of the depth options that I actually like, Trey Benson has league-winning upside. Tajay Spears, very, very high upside.
Yeah, I would feel a little bit.
One more receiver.
Yeah, well, he added Evans in the trade the Andrews trade. Remember, we're talking about his tight end cores if he doesn't have Mark Andrews and Ferguson. Okay,
so let's actually switch it now. Like the Andrews and Ferguson is the tight end core now. Evans in the wide receiver core. So keep this in mind now. And he moved that 2026 3.
Yeah,
sorry. I thought that would show up on the site. My apologies.
No, he must have just did this.
Yeah. Okay. Hold your 2026 1 for in season. If you have to move it because you notice, hey, I'm a top 3 team and I need one other
McCaffrey goes down or something like that.
Yeah. At that point, feel free. For the most part, though, this is just a very much wait and see team.
Yeah, and I would only move your 26 first if it's going to significantly upgrade your starting lineup, as in Jonathan Taylor is available and he would be your flex every single week kind of thing. Or McCaffrey goes down and you need an RB2 to play in your spot, and Benson and Spears aren't giving you shit kind of thing. So definitely be cognizant of that 26-1. Don't just sell it willy-nilly. But I do think you have the right opinion here, which is try and win for the next 2 years probably, and then you're going to probably have to tear this thing down once Jacobs and McCaffrey and those type of assets lose value. They are definitely die on your team type of assets. However, I will say, because you do have your one still, if Jacobs and McCaffrey are performing at a high level, and let's say you just deal with some bad injury luck, for example, like Neighbors, AJ Brown, some of those guys are banged up, you could pivot this into a 1-year punt if things aren't going well for you. And Jacobs, McCaffrey, you get them off your team, you get some draft capital, and you reload for 2026. It's possible you could be proactive with this thing, but given that you're kind of all in and you have stud assets, just go try and win for the first, like at first at least.
Yeah, for sure. By the way, shout out Mason's tweet. New Morgan Wallen album plus underdog drafts. Life is good.
Yes, there you go. But anyways, I think we could probably move on to the next one. I'll help you cover this team for a few seconds here. You are going to have to pull this up on your own end though, because I'm leaving you.
Right. So okay, let me do this.
But anyways, we'll start this team. One Dustin C. Appreciate the. I think he looks like he donated on top of his purchase. We really appreciate that. Tet and Hunter 90% available at 103, 104. My team really needs running back help. But how can I pass on these two wide receivers? I mean, you can't if they're the best players on the board. Love to hear your thoughts on how I should attack the draft. We draft late in August. Okay, so he's going to have plenty of time to do this because he's doing his rookie draft late towards the season. And he said, oh, and we them boys, gross.
Let's go.
Drake May, Caleb Williams, Trevor Lawrence. Again, he has nothing really at running back outside of Kamara and Aaron Jones from the competitive lens. And then 103, 104. If the best players on the board are Hunter and McMillan, you take Hunter and McMillan and you figure out the rest later. Like for me, I take Hunter and McMillan on this team, and then I go and shop T. Higgins. I go and shop Romo Dunze and see what I can get for players like that. And I just reload those young, productive wide receivers because they're the best players on the board. Like if Hampton goes, Hampton goes.
Yeah, exactly. At the end of the day here, having a situation where you are the number one value and you already have 2 green label players, but I would honestly say 4, even though technically speaking, Drake May and Caleb Williams don't have the green label next to their names. I would consider them, like we said, legitimate top 12 to 15 overall startup assets. And of course, you have the strength at tight end, you have top end talent at wide receiver. You just have these picks to be able to shape the roster around those players.
Yeah, and the other thing you could do is if you don't want to pick 103 and 104, you don't want to add those players. Again, I think they're a tier break relative to the rest of rookie drafts. But if you're like, I think I can trade down a little bit and get Trevion Henderson or Quinshon Judkins plus for the 104, because let's say you take Hunter and you don't want to take McMillan. Do your due diligence, as we always talk about. If you can trade down with the team that has 107 or something like that, let's take a look at who has those picks, and maybe they'd be willing to trade up for a receiver.
I think the other way I would go is who has 102.
I don't know why this just reshifted for me. Yeah, you could go up. I mean, so here's my thing. I did this multiple times in leagues of my own rookie drafts. I am never going to trade up to 102 to secure Amari and Hampton because I don't actually view him as the 102. What I would do
he has 103
is go get Genty. That's what I would do instead.
Fair.
This guy, I mean, you could trade down with this guy at 106. Maybe he would be.
I just don't like trading down with this team.
No, neither do I. But like, who has 101?
Yeah.
Shohei's shotguns. Yeah, this guy's team. I mean, he already has wide receivers, so it's possible he doesn't he's just going to take Genty, which is, and you'd have to overpay or whatever. But I don't know, man. I would be willing to see what it costs to go from.
He has no quarterbacks, man. Just tell him, say, hey, listen, like your quarterbacks are fucking urine. You don't need Ashton Genty because your team sucks and you can't compete. Give me Ashton Genty and I'll give you Cam Ward plus.
Yeah, absolutely. You could. This guy.
You gotta be blunt sometimes.
You give him 104 to take Cam Ward. You can even tell him, hey, I'm going to keep the 103. I'm going to take Travis Hunter. You don't have to worry about me taking Cam Ward from you. Give him 104 or something like that. And
2026 one.
Yeah, I probably wouldn't give up 104 and the 26-1 if I don't have to, but I would be willing to do it if I absolutely
That's what it's going to cost. I'll tell you that for free.
I mean, because you're going to get Hunter, I would rather do Maybe it's 104 plus Odunze for 101 plus something back. Maybe he'll give you 101 and downs for Odunze and 104.
You could try, but
I would rather do that than give up my 26-1 personally.
I mean, I'm sure you would rather do that. I'm saying is the guy retooling would rather the first.
Yeah, I'm sure he would.
Yeah.
But maybe he loves Odunze and he wants to upgrade his wide receiver core or whatever. And he was going to take a receiver, whatever. Like he's like, oh, I wouldn't mind taking Tet McMillan, but I'm going to take Ward because I need the quarterback. But he gets the wide receiver anyway.
I think it's more than likely this guy, if he's trading the 101, is going to be like, oh shit, I can't compete this year. I have my wide receivers built. I want to get another 2026 one to attack a second quarterback next year. I get my Cam Ward this year, attack a second quarterback next year, and maybe he views Goff as a potential trade piece.
Yeah, that's pretty fair. Also, Mark, you don't need to. We'll give you this advice for free. Yeah, give the 109 for JSN all day.
Yeah,
he definitely should be right around the range that McMillan goes in terms of value. But yeah, if you want to continue this review, we can keep going with it. I do need to head out because I gotta be somewhere in about 14 minutes.
Yeah, okay. Because I was going to say,
just pull it up and send the link after the stream is over. Don't worry about having the link go to them automatically.
Okay. Here, let me refresh. Let me see if I have access to all of them. That's the only thing.
Actually, here, no, you know what? I'll just power through. Let's get through the last couple.
I got the other two pulled up now. So let's just finish Dustin and then I could do Josh and Gingerale then, if that's fine.
Okay, sounds good. Okay. Yeah. Anything else that you would recommend with this team?
No, I think it's pretty self-explanatory. Like obviously, Kamara and Jones don't really fit your window because you have so many young players. So that would be the other direction I would go is maybe, I mean, who knows? Like if the 112 or the guy 12th in the league analyzer that we said that is the 101 is delusional enough to take Kamara plus the 104 in a piece. Like obviously if you can offset Kamara and Jones, or if you can offset Kamara plus another piece added onto the 104 and convince him to trade down, like that would be another direction. It really just depends. Is the 12 guy delusional? Because if he's not delusional, it would have to be a pick plus the 104. If he is delusional and he thinks he can compete, if he gets a Kamara to add to his mixin, then that would be the direction I go. Like, hey, like, guess what? You need running back? I can still give you a running back here, and you still have a really nice pick to be able to add another depth piece.
Yeah, absolutely. And just quickly, Chasing says, what's the usual schedule for DD episodes? First one I've caught live in a while. I'd say generally speaking, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, once a week, we'll probably be live doing them.
Usually when we fill up about at least 8 reviews is when we'll do them. And again, keep in mind.
It's dependent on how many reviews we get, but I would say generally about once a week on the weekend is probably when we'll do them.
Yeah, and then typically too, if like say we have 6 and it's Thursday night and we're like, we kind of want 8 for the video, like we've sent out vouchers before too. So
not to mention like we only had 7 before we went live here, and obviously some people purchased them live or renewed their vouchers live or whatever. But yeah, I'd say generally it'll probably be Friday, Saturday, or Sunday thing.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyways, I'm gonna pop out of here if you want to continue going on, and appreciate you guys for tuning in, subscribe, all that good stuff. Danny will take you home.
For sure. And hopefully the stream link gets updated for me sharing it now, but you guys should be able to see that. We are on to Josh S's team, and looks like this is actually a league with all of the FSE guys. Shout out Skull Canada, obviously Josh Latz in here, AJ in here, Sir King Jared. Like we got shout out Jedpool. This definitely has to be a league with AJ and a couple of his buddies, because I recall some of these names like Deadpool and stuff. Me and Flet actually share a team in a league with him. So again, we'll go through it right now. Josh, you're currently listed as the number 3 team on the analyzer. Obviously, I know based off some of the names in this league, type of market you're kind of dealing with. 2 quarterback, 12 team start, 9 full PPR, half tight end premium. So let's look at the team. Do you have any comments here? No, just a generalized review from the looks of it. Sounds good. So you have Joe Burrow, Jared Goff, no real quarterback 3, but from a production standpoint, your quarterback core is clearly on the contending lens. Devon Achane, David Montgomery, Tyrone Tracy, definitely more of a contending build at running back as well, at least for the short term. CeeDee Lamb and Jamar Chase, obviously at wide receiver. I will say you are lacking depth after that, those two, which we can talk about in a second for potential transitions. And then Trey McBride here as your number 1 tight end, obviously one of the elite anchors at the position. So overall, good team. Again, you do need a quarterback 3. You do need a wide receiver. But judging from the fact that you have all of your future picks already intact, that's something I would look to address in season. So it is unfortunate that you are shallow wide receiver. Like if you had one more piece, like maybe you could move a Jalen Noel into a more of a contending wide receiver. Like if Noel plus, I don't know, maybe a Noel plus a Ray Davis or Noel plus a Tyler Algier? Like, can you get up to like a Devontae Adams, Mike Evans style wide receiver? That would be the direction I would go. If you can get like another producer, veteran producer, like I said, Devontae Adams, Mike Evans, Chris Godwin, somebody in that type of vein, and you can rely upon as your starting caliber lineup players. Burrow, Goff as your quarterbacks, McBride as your tight end. That's 3 spots right there. HM Montgomery as your 2 main running backs. That is, what did I say? That would be 5 spots right there, 7 spots right there. And then you had a clear 8th starter. Because again, I like Tracy, a little bit more contentious now with Scottaboo being added in. I like some of these pieces, but more so depth pieces. And I like a guy like Josh Downs, but I prefer him to be the first guy off my bench in a start 9. Like I said, if you can move Noel into another contending wide receiver, that would be the direction I go. But it's very clear here. You're number 3 overall in the analyzer. You have contending assets. You have players that are going to score a ton of fantasy points, specifically these top 2 elite tethered wide receivers and 5 green label players. You are in a good spot here, Josh. So I'll see if you are in the chat here. I know, like I said, some of the people in this league are actually for the most part, we're actually in the live chat at one point. So let me know if you're watching this right now. But again, overall, my thoughts are this is a contending team. You have needle movers across the board. It's just maybe if you can transition 1 or 2 of these young pieces into more contending assets, that would be the direction I go. Embrace the contending nature of your team. Have the liquidity in season to be able to upgrade if you need to and go win the damn championship, because I definitely think your team is in a position to potentially do so. Like I said, even if you just remove the pick value from all these teams, you'll see like the contending value, yours, AJ's, and Jared's values are relatively close in this range. But again, appreciate you for submitting this. Hopefully you got a ton of value, and I believe we can move on to the final team. That is going to be from AJ. Now I am curious, AJ, did you send a team from the same league as Josh Latz? We'll see it in a second because, okay, it is a different league. I thought there was the potential that Josh and AJ might have submitted a team from the same league. But as you guys can see, different team. His name is Patrick Starr here. What do y'all think I should do? Much more of a casual league, no FSE bros. I'll keep that in mind in a second. Basically, if you guys are reading that right there, casual league, no FSE bros, AKA running backs have value in this league. Older players have value in this league compared to the young players and picks. Not saying you're dumb, just yeah, for sure. Again, whenever we talk about or criticize, different valued markets in different leagues, we're not saying, oh yeah, we're smarter than people. No, it's more so just understand the dynamic you're in. If you're in an FSE league, it's going to be tough for you to sell your Kyron Williams types, your older tight. I mean, AJ knows for certain trying to sell tight ends in FSE league is going to be very tough. Vice versa. In some other leagues like this one he's referencing, maybe these guys are more redraft centric. It's just a different way to play Dynasty. Obviously, we have our exploits for why we play the way we do, myself and Corey, which is why we play the way we do. More pick savvy, young player savvy, value accrual savvy. But like we'll mention in this league, there's a reason why you became the number 1 value team here at the top here. Again, like I said, 10 teams, start 9, PPR, half tight end premium league. This is AJ's team. Lamar Jackson, Bo Nix, Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. I'll mention a potential idea in a second there. Bijan, Omar, running back. BTJ, London, Higgins, Addison, Golden, Downs, etc. at wide receiver. And then no clear tight end on this roster. I like Jake Ferguson. I like Pat Freiermuth. I like Terrence Ferguson. But no like Brock Bowers, no Trey McBride, no steady, complete top-end Dynasty asset at the top there. So, first of all, my main piece of advice here, 10-team, super flex league. You don't need all 3 of these guys. The guy that I would move would actually be Bo Nix, based off the fact that I like Lamar Jackson. I think Trevor Lawrence is a little underrated on the market right now. And my first train of action is saying, okay, who needs a quarterback in this league? This guy's got Stroud and Dak. Maybe he's not willing to move one of those pieces. Although if you can get Dak plus maybe a first rounder or maybe plus one of these contending pieces, I'd be willing to do that. But let me see. Maybe Barnacle Boy doesn't have. Yeah, Barnacle Boy has Baker Mayfield, Jared Goff, Justin Fields. You can take a look to see if you can sell Bo Nix for Goff plus or Mayfield plus in that capacity as well. But that would be my first trend of action, seeing if you can move Bo Nix in a deal to get a cheaper quarterback 3 plus maybe a pick or 2 of first round insulation or a potential lineup swinger at the flex spot or maybe even the tight end spot. Can you send Bo Nix straight up for not Brock Bowers, but who has McBride here? I'm curious. Number two valuation. So he's got Mahomes, Ward, McBride. So he's probably not going to make a move for a quarterback, but maybe if you waved Nix into his nose, he'd be willing to make a move there. Let me see the Brock Bowers guy. He's got Allen, he's got Young, he's got Tua. Probably not incentivized to make a move. Maybe Laporta. What's Laporta looking like? This guy's got Warren and Njoku. Njoku would be another one if you can get for cheap. Otherwise, I'd be looking at maybe Laporta. Laporta would be another option. This guy's got a more of an unproven quarterback core, I would say, with May, with Purdy, with Geno Smith. If the offer was Geno Smith plus Sam Laporta plus another contending piece and you sold off of Bo Nix, I don't think that's an outrageous direction to go. But overall, you're playing around with this team. You have the green label players. You have the capital to be able to make a move because you have all of your picks stacked up. At the end of the day, if you can move one of these quarterback equity pieces, specifically Bo Nix, given where he's at on the market versus Trevor Lawrence, I think that would be your best route to improving your tight end spot. Ultimately, though, you're number one on the analyzer for quite a bit. I mean, you and Plankton are literally, you're 12,000 clear of everybody in this league that's not Plankton, and Plankton is 6,000 clear of you. So great spot to be in. Obviously, I know you have a good head on your shoulders, Gingerale. You've been watching us for the last few years, so keep doing what you're doing and keep crushing your league mates. But let me quickly take a refresh in case we got any more submissions. Otherwise, okay, so it looks like we're all caught up on the submissions right now. I will quickly look to see. Okay, so trade, start, set, super message. Okay, we are all caught up. I'll take this off my screen quick, answer some comments, and if you guys do submit a last-second team, please leave it in the YouTube chat. If not, I'll quickly take a look at the email before I head off. But in terms of the comments, anything? Okay, so mostly older stuff. We see Jimmy and Reaper kind of going back and forth with some comments. So I think it's worth moving up at that value goes. Yeah, okay, so they're talking about some specific deals. What's the specific deal here? Well, if you're thinking about holding at 111, yeah, if you can get Loveland at 111 or Warren, I think that's a reasonable spot too. You have the 106 and 202. That's a good spot. Would you trade 111, 310, and Coleman for the 105? I think that is a perfect price to be able to pay for 105. Even though you need a tight end, if that's all it costs to get up to the 105 spot, I would be willing to go aggressive and make that move. Again, if you guys have any other submissions, I'll quickly do the refresh button. And it is going. Doesn't look like anybody's refreshed. But again, appreciate you guys for submitting around or sitting around. An hour 35, we tackled about, I think Corey said 8 or 9 teams. So if you guys enjoyed, make sure you leave a like down below. And like I mentioned in the middle of the live stream, we will be back at you tomorrow with a video talking about potential moves to make depending on the type of dynasty team you are, whether you're a league breaker, tanking team, house money team, competitive team. Regardless, we'll make sure you guys are covered. And so it's going to be more of a macro style video. So the types of moves you should be making rather than specific player moves. But if we can throw a player move in there or two, we'll make sure you guys are covered. But a couple comments here too. Would you trade 201 for David Montgomery? I personally would prefer the 201 asset to David Montgomery unless you're a heavy contender and that's the only running back you can get and you need a running back. That'd be the only context I'd understand. But for me personally, the 201, whether it's Luther Burden, Caleb Johnson, or RJ Harvey, I actually all have ranked higher than David Montgomery in my rankings. Would you flip Tua and Marv for Ward and AJ Brown on a rebuild, or is Brown too old? I would keep the Tua and Marv side for me personally there. Brown is too old for me to make that move. I think it's relatively decent move, but Marv for me, the asset value he can gain with a good second season is just too much to trade down to AJ Brown, because AJ Brown could have 1,500 yards next year and he won't move in dynasty value. Traded Wanda in a late third for an early second. Yeah, I think that's a perfectly reasonable trade to do. Get some fat off your team. You trim down. You upgrade to an early 27-2. Very good move. Elijah, that feels a little rich. I agree. Any second question on a team set at wide receiver? Would you flip DJ Moore for Chase Brown or Kenneth Walker? Chase Brown, absolutely. If you can get Chase Brown right now, accept that deal in your inbox is my advice. Kenneth Walker becomes a little closer. At half PPR, I think that's a reasonable move, but Chase Brown would be a literal home run if you could do that. But again, either way, appreciate you guys for sticking around. Comment in the live stream afterwards what your flock username is. And if we need any more submissions, we'll file some vouchers. Again, keep in mind, in order to be eligible for a voucher, you would have had to be an FSE code user at one point, whether you're an active or inactive flock fantasy member, whether it's a month flocker or a flocker there. That would be how you'd be eligible to get a free voucher. But like I said, leave those in the comments, not in the live stream chat, but in the comments after this goes up. But with that being said, peace out. And like I said, I'll get you back tomorrow. Would you keep Puka with a 3rd round spot or Jaden with a 12th round spot? I think you got to go with the 1st round equity. Puka is going as, I believe, the 107 on Underdog. So I would lean Puka. But if you feel like you can get running back and wide receiver value, I think that is fine value because you got Jaden at the 12th. Thanks, Danny. I appreciate you chasing. BTJ still top 6 wide receiver with Hunter landing there. He's right in that range for me. He's a tier 2 dynasty wide receiver, and I believe I have him as wide receiver 8 or so in my best ball rankings. And Danny is the man. Appreciate you, Arthur. Glad to see Danny is the man comment, because that is a nice refresher off the last few days that I saw in the BDG comments. But later, Danny, peace out. Appreciate you guys as always. Love the content. Appreciate you as well, Reaper. Take care, boys. Yes, sir.